Hey everyone, welcome to our newest video, and I'm very excited today to talk about a topic which kind of changes the game of go-to-market and outbound. And I'm going to describe exactly how I get unlimited leads using Claude Code and Clay without ever logging into Clay or any other tools. All you need is just the idea, tools connected, and basically that allows you to get started and be able to generate hundreds and thousands of leads without manually logging into tools, without building lists by hand, without manually scraping data, without using some shady third-party scrapers or something similar. So that's something that we're going to be covering today. I'm going to walk you through a step-by-step process, and by the end of this video you'll see how simple it is to basically start, how simple it is to build a campaign from scratch, all the way from basically extracting the data, enriching the data using Clay's enterprise infrastructure, and then finally writing the copy and then pushing that to Instantly or any of the sequencers that you use. As the Clay partner agency, we build thousands of workbooks and tables for different B2B clients in Clay. We enriched millions of rows. We've sent millions of cold emails, and we do send millions of cold emails every month. And up until now, to run an operation like that, you need to be knowledgeable inside Clay. You needed to understand how to make custom HTTP API calls and all the stuff that sometimes can be overwhelming. So you couldn't really have enough time to focus on the quality of the output in the campaign. Like, what is the core of the campaign? What is the actual source from where you get the leads? What is the campaign strategy or similar? And that was a big bottleneck because you could only handle so many campaigns and you couldn't really get to the level of the output that you would want to have. That really changes with the process that I'm going to walk you through. And there's a couple of different elements that are very important to this process. The first one is obviously you have to understand your ICP perfectly. That means not just what you think the ideal customer profile is, but really dig deeper into your CRM, pull all of the closed won deals, understand who are the companies that converted with you and with your sales team, who are the buyers, what led to their decisions. Was it some recent funding events, maybe recent hires, maybe some first party or third party signals or event data that kind of led to their decision over time. So once you map that out, then you have a really clear idea of like what are your companies. So you can really describe that to your coding agent, whether that's Claude Code, Codex, or any other agent, basically saying, I want to find B2B software companies in New York City between 50 and 200 people that raised Series B in the last 30 days, hired their first go-to-market engineer, and right now are trying to build the outbound motion. So basically, if you describe it that way to your agent, that means that you really have something valuable, and that means that your campaign is going to be so much more successful because it's going to be so much easier for you and your agent to write the copy as opposed to just reach out to thousands of random leads without any relevance to it. So what I would advise is when you have the list of basically things that are very important to your ICP is to basically turn that into a scorecard. That means that every single segment, you can start with technographics and firmographics, like how big is the company, what is the industry, what are the sub-verticals, what are the locations, where are the people, and so on. Everything that you can really see in any of the databases. For every single thing that kind of matches what you're looking for, it assigns a set of points. And then you also layer live signals on top of that. Like if the company is using specific technologies, if they hired a new go-to-market engineer, and if they raised the funding, all of these things contribute to your overall scoring. And you basically create like a repeatable workflow or like a scorecard where every time you want to build a new list using your coding agent, you can just say, hey, use my ICP scorecard and score all of these leads against my ICP. So what the agent does, it basically, pulls the fresh leads, the companies, scores against your ICP, and gives you basically tier A, tier B, tier C, or companies that you should disqualify. You'll be surprised to see how many companies actually get disqualified. That means that 95% of outreach today is irrelevant. But with this approach and this process, you can really be so much more relevant, and you can really build a pipeline on like autopilot using the system, just by chatting with your agent. Second aspect that we are going to talk about is how to connect your Clay account to your Claude Code agent, or it's the same process for Codex, Hermes agents, OpenClaw, or anything that you use. Basically, it's just a couple of commands. You just paste the link, which I'm going to link in this description here. And once you have that, The agent is going to set up everything on its own, so there's not really much work that you have to invest into something like this. Everything is done within 5 minutes. Then after we kind of connect Clay account into our Claude Code, we have to think about how can we create like a repeatable workflow or the process where we can consistently think of new ways to scrape leads. Now, 99% of agencies or people running outbound are typically starting with databases like Apollo, Prospeo, AI-Arc, or any of these databases to basically start, use the filters, source the contacts, and then use that CSV to kind of refine after, which again is not wrong. It's very hard to define the angle of the campaign and to define the strategy if you have a random list of thousands of people that you kind of have to enrich and narrow down. It spends a lot of credits, doesn't have enough relevance in it, and then if you have a list of 10,000 people, it kind of trims down to like 500 people that maybe you can reach out to because they fit and pass your ICP criteria that we talked about. So it's crucial to find a way how you can source the leads off databases initially, like public directories, or anything that you feel like is relevant to your company and your ICP. So I'm going to show you how you can do that. Then use that data to basically enrich all of these companies, find people within these companies, find their valid work email addresses, and by doing so, just have like a very strong campaign strategy and angle and a strong reason to reach out and position your offer as something that they can benefit from. When it comes to enriching the data, which is the most important aspect of basically building the list, that means that with the rich data that you supply to your agent can really provide you with a very truthful score about your ICP. Not just like, okay, we have this in our CSV, there's some company descriptions, there's some data here, this is sufficient for us to score the list. We try to kind of flip the coin here. We basically go to Clay from Claude Code to basically enrich the data, get full company description, like who their ICP is, who their buyers are, what are the signals, what are the technologies they're using, do they have any third-party events that we kind of want to utilize, and then based on all of that, with all of that enrichment data, then we score these accounts and leads before we start generating the copy and so on. So it's very important to basically understand how you can leverage these enrichments. Clay has their set of their own Clay managed routines, as they call them, or functions or enrichments that you can already use, but you can build your custom agents, like basically Clay agents or functions or workflows that you can directly call from your agent and then basically use them in your Claude Code. That requires a bit more advanced knowledge to kind of pre-build inside Clay, although you could do that from your coding agent as well. So again, the process is pretty straightforward and it's nothing too complex that just someone with a little bit of experience could not do. Finally, once you have all of the enriched data, hopefully before that you already know what kind of offer you want to lead with, what kind of value you can offer to your prospects, and how you can use the data that you basically collected to write really engaging sequences copy and position your service or product as something that's truly valuable to them at the right time, meaning like you basically got them at the right moment. So today, what I'm going to talk about is one of the campaigns or example campaign that I would run for us today, including scraping a public directory of companies, finding people within these companies, finding contact information of these people, enriching data, writing the sequences copy, and then uploading that into the sequences inside instantly to be able to run. So I'm going to share my screen and I'm going to walk you through the entire process. And by the end of this video, you're going to have a link to basically a couple of Clay templates that you can reuse for something like this. We're now inside our Claude Code with our account authenticated and all the tools already connected. So we work based off the empty folder here that we connected, and that's where we'll have our outputs. So agent will create different types of scripts, CSVs, and so on, and it's going to post that in our folder locally on our computer here. So to get started, basically the first thing that we have to do is we have to authenticate Clay and connect it to our Claude Code. So if you visit developers.clay.com/quickstart, you'll end up on a page like this, where all you have to do is basically copy this, paste here in your agent and hit enter. If you want to make sure that it's going to do the right thing, you can also paste this URL and just say to your agent something like, hey, create Clay CLI for me, authenticate and help me connect so we can use it. Right now I have it connected already, so I'm not gonna repeat the same process, but this is very simple process, so there's no chance that you can make a mistake here. Basically what's gonna happen, the agent is gonna install that, it's gonna pop up the window inside your Google Chrome or the browser that you use, and you will just click authenticate, and basically that's it. It's connected, it's live for every subsequent session that you use, so you can really use it. Now I am using this inside Claude Code for better performance, and what Clay recommends is that you actually use it inside your terminal, which you can just open on your computer. You can log into Claude Code and then run these options directly within your terminal, which is the suggested option to just install it the first time. That does not have to mean that you have to use it just with the terminal. You can certainly use it with your Claude Code, Cursor, VS Code, or anything else that you use. So that's the first thing that you need connected here. Right now we're running on Opus 5 here, which I think is a very powerful model. And I usually start with basically the planning mode, because when the agent has the plan, it kind of creates the checklist of things and basically follows through until everything is completed fully. So our campaign for today is we are going to be reaching out to companies that basically went through Y Combinator. So these are the startups that have been funded in spring 2026. These are very early stage startups, and then they likely need help with their pipeline. Most of them by now have some early traction and maybe some revenue, but they really need the pipeline get going, and we feel like it's a good timing to reach out. And because our ICP are B2B software companies that have potential, that are hopefully funded, and we work with a lot of founders as well directly, we think that something like this can be relevant. We're also willing to offer to two of these startups complimentary campaigns, meaning like their first campaigns will be launched by FrontBrick completely complimentary, so we can prove that we can generate pipeline and traction. And if they like it, they continue to work with us. So I think it's a pretty compelling offer. I think it's a pretty good timing. And I think it's data that we can, basically get from here, extract easily, and then use to enrich. So the first thing that we will do here, I'm going to paste this here. And I'm going to go to my coding agent here, and then you can type it in. I'm going to paste the URL here, but you can also basically talk to your agent. I use an app called Spokenly for that. So I just hit a button on my keyboard and I basically start talking to my agent. So here's what I'm gonna say. So I want to run a B2B cold email campaign for FrontBrick, and I want to reach out to companies that recently went through Y Combinator batch. So I pasted the URL below. I want you to scrape all of the companies from that URL. And when you get results later on, we will use Clay's CLI to find people within these companies, to clean up the list, and to also find their valid work emails. After that, we will write sequence as copy using Clay's function. And then finally, we will push ready leads and fully enriched list directly into our instantly campaign, which we will have to create from scratch. Create a solid plan before we do anything. So obviously something like this, you obviously just read what we have here, hit enter, and then the agent is basically gonna start planning the outline and the task for us. As we can see here, it says, I'll start by understanding the environment, and let's get started. So as we can see here, the planning started successfully. It kind of inspected everything here, and now Claude has some questions for us, which is the core component of the planning mode, which is why I always suggest to use it before you start doing anything. So it's going to ask us, do you want just Spring 2026? There's 196 companies there, or do you want more? In our case, because we're just demonstrating, I'm going to say cap it at 50 companies, Spring only. And then we're going to hit next here, and then it'll ask us like which industries should we keep. Is it just B2B? Is it fintech? Is it healthcare? Is it consumer? Now, Claude already has the context about our ICP, so it understands who FrontBrick targets. So we are going to say B2B only. And then it'll ask us, do you just want the primary founder or CEO? And usually what I suggest is to pick up to 2 people per company to reach out to. And then we're going to hit 2. And then here it will ask us, how would you like to generate a copy? Is it just shared sequence, no AI copy? Or do you want fully AI written per lead? Or do you want basically our, what we call like house sequence and some AI hook per lead, which is essentially just the AI personalization? In this instance here, because we have an existing Clay function that we use to write the copy, we will say that we want to use that existing function, and then basically what is going to happen, every lead that we have is going to be sent directly to Clay with the proper inputs. Clay is going to generate the copy using the function for us, and Claude is going to receive that data back. This is important because if you're building a list of thousands of leads, you will likely run into an issue if you just stick with Claude and their sub-agents to write the copy for you. At some point, they're going to start to hallucinate and you can't really control the output. By the way, we will link this function as a Clay template in the link of the description, and then you can use it, clone it, and use it for free. So you can also generate world-class sequences for yourself. This is the process that we tested on hundreds of B2B clients and on millions of cold emails. So it kind of uses the proven template for something like this. So it took a few minutes, but what Claude came back with is basically it wrote the plan for us. So if you read on the right-hand side here, it will say YC Spring 2026 Clay instantly cold email campaign. FrontBrick wants B2B cold email campaign targeting founders and companies that just completed Y Combinator Spring 2026. Demo day was in June 2026. And then 2 founders per batch. The pipeline is basically scrape YC directory, select 50 ICP fit companies, which is what we instructed Claude to do, pull their founders, find valid work emails via Clay, generate personalized 3-step sequences via Clay, push into new instantly campaign built from scratch. So Claude perfectly understands what we are trying to do. What research established already, and it says, for example, here, this is the directory and how we can fetch this. This is the status, these are the founders. Clay CLI is authenticated and installed. Clay functions that we will use, it kind of already tells us which functions it will use, kind of identifies on its own. Then it says 34 mailboxes across 6 domains. We kind of fetch that data directly from Instantly because we also have Instantly's MCP connected here. And then it basically says that it's going to generate the sequence for us here. And just basically outlines all of the steps. We will just skip through this right now, but I do recommend writing everything before you accept and approve, just because in case you want to revise something, it's good to tell it now versus when it starts. For right now, we'll just click accept in auto mode, meaning like it's going to start executing on tasks. So as we can see here, Claude actually started executing on tasks. So step 1 is done, 196 companies matching expectations, now selection, 50 companies selected, and it has some hiccups, but basically it double checks everything and makes sure that it's selected proper companies. Now it's reading the full descriptions and then basically just taking a look if if these companies are actually a fit for us. As we can see, it found 88 leads across 50 companies, and every single has valid LinkedIn URL, which is very important for us. And that's basically the input that we need to supply to Clay to be able to find the work emails, clean up and enrich the data. So as our agent continues to find emails at this point, as we can see, 88 leads across 50 companies, as we said, has a LinkedIn URL, and then output shape is confirmed. Basically, this is the email, and it's already valid email that we get. Now it's basically sending all of them to Clay. One thing that I've heard frequently is we don't have visibility into what agent does in the background. Now, if you wanted to see that, you can log into your Clay account, click functions, find the function that it's actually running, and you can see here the date, what is actually the input. So you can see that for this person, there was basically the input that agent already mapped, and Clay automatically runs the waterfall to basically find the best match work email and maximize the coverage and sends the data back to agent. This way you maximize your email coverage using Clay's native waterfall. And you don't even have to log in here, you don't have to do anything, you just tell your agent what to do. As you can see here, the coverage is like 90%, we'll see in the end, but it actually found a lot of emails. So Clay finished basically with 91% coverage on emails, which is outstanding, and it kind of moves forward according to the plan. So it asks us basically which social proof should we use for our sequence. Again, keep in mind that Claude already has our ICP and knows everything about us because of the context. So we will pick 1.2 million in pipeline in 6 weeks. I think it is much better than like 1.3 to 11% reply rate, which is also true, but I think more founders would care about the actual revenue than reply rate. I don't think anyone cares about reply rate. Now it's gonna say the 8 founders with no emails, what to do with them. Now we can try a different routine and maybe find more emails, but basically we'll just leave them out. And our Claude is now going to continue with basically mapping everything into our function to write really engaging email sequence as copy, which has 3 steps, and it's going to position our core offer as something that is appealing to these leads. So let's see how it does. For the reference, our sequence writer uses the following inputs here. So what basically our Claude agent maps is what is the first name of the prospect, what is the offer, basically what is our offer, then what is the company name we're reaching out to. Do we have any lead magnet? In this case, we do have one of the lead magnets here. What is the social proof? What is the client company description? Instead of that's us basically. What is the target persona and what is the signal here? So what it does, it basically maps all of that into our master prompt, which basically generates a 3-step sequence for us, writes the subject line and scores the email copy based on the criteria that we have. So we already know how it works. For this, we use Gemini just because of the cost efficiency. And we can see that our cost is 0.001, which is almost nothing for a unique copy per each lead. I don't think it sounds like AI slop in many cases. It performs exceptionally well across all of our clients here at FrontBrick. And because it's very controlled, it's trained on millions of cold emails that we send for all of our B2B clients, and generally speaking, it shows strong results to us. As you can see, the data here is popping up consistently. That means that Claude is basically automatically sending data in batches and getting data back. So it kind of already prepares everything for uploading into our sequences. One important aspect that our agent was able to pick up, and which is another reason why you should use a coding agent like Claude Code, Codex, or Hermes, or any of these agents, is because, as you can see here, 80 of 80 passed. All of them have pretty good scores, but there is one issue with it. It says subject and then shows the line. And if we really go to Clay, you'll notice that sometimes Gemini actually did subject and then put the line here, which if we sent it that way, it would look ridiculous. But good enough, our agent was able to pick it up. It's gonna clean it up and it's gonna make sure that everything renders properly so we don't look ridiculous when we send out those emails. By the way, if you are looking to write cold emails like this, which are unique and which you can scale across thousands of prospects, because each prospect receives unique email, that way you don't have to spin tax your copy. You have low risk of basically being flagged as spam. I will link this function as a Clay template in the description here, and you can basically use it for free as long as you have the right offer and know how to map your inputs here. You can use any agent. We do suggest Gemini just because of cost efficiency, and we tested all of the agents pretty much. If you're generating for thousands of prospects, this is probably the best choice. And again, copy itself is pretty decent. Again, congrats on Y Combinator Spring graduation. Then it uses a specific line for basically each of the companies. This is what we build, and this is our compelling offer or call to action. Or for Ben here, for example, hey, congrats on YC Spring 2026 demo day. I saw you're hiring while scaling cloud agents with product teams. So, our agent did the research, so we have all the enriched data, and we can really be relevant with the copy. Most founders at your stage struggle to balance building the consistent outbound. We act as a fractional go-to-market engineering team to automate all of the research. This is our social proof, and do you want me to send one pager so you can see how the system looks? As you can see, our copywriting agent kind of uses the variations of different offers. That way, all of the emails are basically unique based on what we're doing. So, as you can see here, agent is kind of finishing up. Now we'll see if we have instantly connected. It's most likely MCP, it's not CLI, which means it will be able to create our campaign from scratch. It will be able to upload all of the prospects with valid working emails. It will be able to upload all of the sequences and everything else. So it will actually ask us here, how would you like it? Create an API key by MCP. Push your MCP in 8 chunks, or you add it yourself. If I click here, it's just going to give me the CSV, which I will upload. But as you noticed, up until now, I haven't used a single CSV. I haven't left my Claude Code interface except for just showing you what's in the backend of the Clay. So I'm going to say I want you to actually port in 8 chunks directly to instantly. So I do not want to leave this environment because I can do everything from here, and that's the power of the system here. So as we can see here, basically it uploaded the first 10 leads, which is the first batch. It does catch critical errors like the payloads if something is wrong or so on. So if we go to instantly, we'll actually see the campaign created here. So we didn't have this campaign before. We'll go on to editor here and we'll see all of the map bodies here. So if I click into any of these and click view, you'll see that it says, hey Bryant, I saw you finished YC batch, usually signals massive push for growth. This is what we do, blah, blah, blah. Do you want the one pager? And basically we have our emails already connected here, all of the infrastructure built on instantly airmail. And we can review this for other leads too. Probably it's not mapped yet, but it's going to show up soon here. Basically, all of the leads are being uploaded here in batches. And then we always still suggest to double check your campaign before it goes out, just because you still want to make sure that everything renders properly, there's no issues. If there is an issue, again, agent will likely catch it here, or you can just tell it, hey, this is the problem, this is what I need you to fix, and it's gonna actually help you do that. So again, it's a very low likelihood that the agent is going to make the mistake, but my suggestion is once you do everything here, still check your sequencer just to make sure that everything looks good and it's good to go, such as like sending schedule, emails, and all of that. Again, it's gonna map out everything for you, but just make sure to double check everything. So now that you've seen how we built this engine directly from Claude Code without ever leaving that place, except for just the first copy paste of the directory we wanted to scrape, you can build this engine for yourself. I have a Clay template here in description. And if you're looking to build like a more robust system, FrontBrick and my team, we embed as fractional go-to-market engineers to help you build out more robust system that combines kind of multi-touch journey, including LinkedIn ads, LinkedIn outreach, email outreach, and all of it. So you really convert accounts at the high level, and you can go even up market with more enterprise accounts with our ABM motion. So make sure to check out our ABM video, which is on our channel. And yeah, that's it for today. Hopefully you enjoyed this, and stay tuned until the next video.